Hi, I'm Stephanie Western. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the OER Program Manager for Utah State University. I'm happy to be here today to talk about when an OER program becomes a library publishing program. First, I have a land acknowledgement. As a land-grant institution, Utah State University campuses and centers reside and operate on the territories of the 8 tribes of Utah, who have been living, working, and residing on this land from time immemorial. These tribes are the Confederated Tribes of the Goshute Indians, Navajo Nation, Ute Indian Tribe, Northwestern Band of Shoshone, Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah, San Juan Southern Paiute, Skull Valley Band of Goshute, and White Mesa Band of the Ute Mountain Ute. We acknowledge these lands carry the stories of these nations and their struggles for survival and identity. We recognize elders past and present as people who have cared for and continue to care for the land. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous self-governance history, experiences, and resiliency of the Native people who are still here today. The OER program at our large land-grant institution began as a grassroots effort between the library and 2 faculty members in 2013. Today, it is an established program that has awarded more than $60,000 in grants and facilitated student savings exceeding $4 million. As our program enters its 10th year, it is at a crossroads. We will discuss our OER team's journey into OER publishing, what kind of support we've offered, what platforms and tools our authors are using, what we have learned and improved, and major questions at the forefront as we assess our future are how much oversight should the library have over quality control, diversity and equity, and ensuring accessibility through the creation of alternate formats. Are OER considered author publications in the same way that commercially published textbooks are? How is this reflected in the library catalog and stacks? And how is it represented in the tenure process? What are the potential risks and rewards of scaling up the OER program to fully embrace the role of library publisher? And we'll talk about suggestions for how to assess your own program and facilitate these discussions at your institutions. I will be active in the chat, so please feel free to say hi. So the OER team at USU Library started as 1 librarian doing this as a side project. The OER program manager, that's me, is a new role created 18 months ago. I'm the front-facing member of the team. I do consult with faculty, program outreach and marketing, and I manage the OER grant program. The program assistant does program support. She manages student assistance, tracks OER adoption and student savings each semester, and sends out pre- and post-semester student surveys. And our wonderful student assistants, they perform OER searches for faculty, they do accessibility checks, help with image attributions, work in Pressbooks, and more. Our current round of grant projects includes several full-length textbooks. When we realized our new assistant already had great editing skills, we promoted her to copy editor. This is the kind of publication support that we currently provide, from our earliest offerings to the most recent. What I would love to see in the chat is what services you want to start offering. So if you'll pop those in there, that would be great. Our students do OER searches. We offer copyright assistance and image attributions. We have OER grants of between $500 to $3,000. We have learning management systems integration. We do not do that. We get people connected to our Center for Instructional Design, and they incorporate the OER into Canvas. We also help with repository submission, impact analysis, Pressbooks assistance, copy editing, and accessibility checks, and graphic design services. And this is primarily for book covers. This year, the library's graphic designer created a cover template that instructors can choose to use in Pressbooks so that it looks more professional and more branded. These are the platforms and tools that our authors are currently using. We have Pressbooks, Wikibooks, Links, which is a LaTeX editor for equation-heavy content, MS Word, and Google Docs. JMall is for creating 3D chemistry simulations. We use USU's Institutional Repository as a publishing and sharing platform, Campus Print Services for printing hard copies, and Kindle Direct Publishing. So we've had a few previous grant projects that were published through the Rebus Pressbooks instance. And in 2021, the Utah Education Network purchased a 5-year contract for their own Pressbooks instance, which is free for anyone from the state's 8 public higher education institutions to use. So we migrated our existing Pressbooks titles to this new instance and started promoting it. The graphic on the right shows our current catalog of USU-produced Pressbooks, with more in production. This spring, I hosted a roundtable discussion about OER publishing at ACRL. Another OER librarian said that they do have Pressbooks at their institution, but they do not touch instructors' content. They don't have the bandwidth, so that is the wise boundary that they set. And we initially thought that we would be more hands-off as well and offer Pressbooks as more of a self-serve option. But Pressbooks does have a bit of a learning curve, and as our students became more proficient, we started offering more support than we had originally planned. The introductory chemistry is one of the textbooks that we have. It's an adaptation that combines parts of 3 other chemistry OERs. That book in the last quarter has received 137,000 visitors and 166,000 total page views, which is up 200% from the previous quarter. We also have Mythology Unbound in the last quarter. That one received 25,000 visitors and 40,000 page views, which is up 90% from the previous quarter. Those are by far our 2 most popular titles in our Pressbooks directory, but as so many of these other ones are new, we are expecting to see those numbers continue to go up. And numbers like these help us make the case for continuing the subscription. And then events like Utah's first ever virtual OER symposium was this year, which included Pressbooks training and author showcases. That's increasing interest as well. We were lucky to secure funding from more student assistant hours. So for now, offering assistance in Pressbooks seems like a good place for us to put our efforts. It also allows us to take on additional publishing projects like this one. So if you are having 1998 flashbacks right now, I am really sorry. This is the title page of what is actually an excellent Latin language OER. The content is so good that Latin teachers from all over are willing to navigate this website to access it. Because we have the students and the capacity, we approached the instructor and asked if we could put his resource into Pressbooks and make it gorgeous and functional. And he said, sure. So our students started working on it as a background project. This is the new table of contents. There are fewer links for screen readers to navigate, and it's easier to see what the chapters are about. And then through the original website, the instructor provides PDFs of quizzes and workshops to be printed and graded by hand. But in this Pressbook version, we have created interactive HP5 activities with the option to be linked to Canvas and automatically graded. So I cannot wait to see how many teachers and students this is going to benefit. This year, how does our institution view OER? This year I really pushed for the 2 textbooks funded by an OER creation grant to be included in the faculty author showcase during Research Week, and for the authors to be recognized that way. And so for the first time, I worked with our graphic designer, campus print services, and collections department to get hard copies printed, cataloged, and put on display with the others. I was really happy with the results, the instructors were happy, and this is an area where I want to continue to make more progress. Utah State does not have language in it about OER in the promotion and tenure guidelines and process. I did meet with the Faculty Evaluation Committee this year to raise that possibility, and I hope that it will help that the current chair just finished writing his first OER textbook, so yeah. Crossing fingers for that. So, lessons that we have learned. Things will take longer and be weirder than you expect, and it's okay. Just plan on it, learn from it, and if you would like to drop some of your lessons learned in the chat so that we can all benefit, please do. I am in there and I would love to see it. So branding and marketing is important. Even something as simple as having a professional create the cover template Makes things look so much more recognizable and consistent. And do you remember the question from before? How much oversight should the library have over quality control, diversity and equity, and ensuring accessibility? Yeah, when you decide what seems right to you for right now, be annoyingly specific about it. Get it all in writing in the contracts. Ask me how I know this. For example, accessibility. There is a pervasive lack of awareness about how to make digital items accessible and why that matters. So what are the standards that we want our OER to meet? For example, alt text for images. Are we going to require that? If we aren't specific and don't have that requirement in writing in our OER contract, an author can choose to opt out. Creative Commons licensing. Who decides which Creative Commons license to assign to the work? Is it the author? And if so, have we specified in the contract that Creative Commons licenses with no derivatives are not open licenses and will not qualify? Quality control. Does the work need to be proofread? And if so, by whom and to what standard? Branding. Most of our instructors have been thrilled to have our library's graphic designer provide a template, but there are a couple who aren't and who have opinions. So what about the authors who want to choose something kind of awful? Is the cover subject to library approval or not? Get it in writing. Next up for us at Utah State is to get more intentional and annoyingly specific about diversity, equity, and inclusion. How can we demonstrate that our content is being designed and executed with this in mind? Peer review is another thing that instructors have started asking about, and it can play an important piece, I think, for that promotion and tenure aspect. So the library just closed for the day and turned off all the lights and played a whole bunch of loud music. So that happened. We move forward. The risks and rewards of scaling up. In speaking with colleagues here at the university, these are some of the risks and rewards that we've identified for us. Risk number one, overpromising and underdelivering. Another risk is sustainability. Do we have the people and the procedures and support from leadership to keep things going? The risk of overextending library resources. And there is the risk that we call the niffler potential. Nifflers, if you are familiar with the world of Harry Potter, are adorable creatures who create havoc because they are constantly chasing bits of shiny treasure. We don't want to do that when it comes to shiny new things in the publishing world. The rewards for us have been opportunities to find new partners on campus. For us, that's been places like our Center for Instructional Design and our Central IT department. Departments who focus on online learning and instructional services. They've become great sponsors, supports and sponsors of our program. Attracting new collaborations and expanding additional collaboration. The traditional library resources aren't on the radar of some departments or people who work at some of our statewide locations, but OER can be a gateway for introducing people to other library services like open access or copyright or the institutional repository. OER and our publishing efforts get the library and its services into more conversations and spaces, like the conversations that I've been able to have with the Faculty Evaluation Committee. So assessing your program and facilitating discussions, these are just a few things that might be good for you to think about, talk about with your leadership. What outcomes are you achieving with your current program? How do these outcomes align with your library's mission and vision and your university's strategic plan? What aspects of your program will you prioritize for growth? How will you build capacity? These are a couple of additional resources that I'm adding. This module from the OEN certificate in OER librarianship was excellent, and then this top link leads to a copy of the handout that I created for that roundtable from ACRL, which brought up so many good things. Thank you very much. I will be here to answer questions during the Q&A, and here's some of the contact information if you want to get a hold of me later. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.